How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. There are some people that are begging to be able to start buying Bitcoin. They're actually trying to change laws so that they can more easily buy Bitcoin. They're some of the largest companies in the United States and across the world, some of the most powerful companies. So I want to show you that it's real obvious what's happening. Also, the price is falling down a little bit. We'll talk about why that is and some crazy coverage for Bitcoin on traditional media. It's crazy. And then we'll talk about some other FOMO that's happening in the market as well. If you don't mind, hit subscribe. Turn on the bell notification underneath the video so you can see future videos just like this one right when I make them. There's also a link down there to Margex. We are seeing some higher lows. I know that we're ranging here, but this can be a nice way of amplifying your returns if you want to trade on leverage. It's not right for everyone, but in a bullish market, you can make a lot of money trading on leverage, and Margex is a great place to do it. When you pair that up with the indicator too, I found out recently that we are now able to have notifications sent to your phone. So you can set up the charts however you want, and then you can actually get a text like, hey, tell me when it's the right time to DCA. And I'm just looking at the 5-minute here, but you can set for any chart that you want. You can put it on different assets as well. So definitely check this out underneath the video. It goes right into your TradingView account, which is really nice. And we now have tutorial videos on how to set these up, how to use them over on the website. Again, there are links to this underneath the video, and it is 20% off right now. So we did get PPI numbers this morning, and they were worse than expected. PPI rose 0.3% versus the estimate of 0.1%. The producer prices rose 0.9% versus the estimate of 0.6%. The PPI ex food rose much higher than expected as well. And we did have a revision down for the last month, I believe it was, but it still did not make up for this month. Now, we saw bad CPI data earlier this week. I think the Fed already knew this was coming out because the data was embargoed, or the information was. So it was done. It just wasn't allowed to be released to the public. So I think that's why probably Jerome Powell was quite stern with us, a little bit hawkish last week. He knew that there's going to be some bad inflation data coming out here soon. Now, the market is down a little bit on this news. Like you can see here that Bitcoin is down to 51,800. It was up at 52,600 even after this news came out, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, we're having a little bit of sideways actions, a little bit of red here on certain cryptocurrencies, some altcoins, but there's still a huge amount of FOMO, and I can show you it here. We had strong inflows yesterday, 9,200 Bitcoin. This is even with the GBTC selling accelerating. So we actually saw 163 million sold by GBTC, which was the most that we've seen in a while. We had seen flows go down to under 100 million a day. I think part of this might be Genesis getting approved to sell their 1.3 billion. I would not be surprised if they're already selling it. Let's say they sell 50 million a day for the next month or something like that. That would not surprise me. That is a bit aggressive, but that could be the cause of the selling. But still, 9,200 net. So these institutions like BlackRock are still stacking heavily. You can see that they added about 5,500 Bitcoin. Actually 6,500 Bitcoin just over a day. So making massive buys. And there are some people that are not so happy that BlackRock and Fidelity and these institutions are able to buy Bitcoin for their clients. You can see powerful interest groups are pushing the SEC to tweak accounting guidance that makes it more expensive for U.S. banks to hold digital assets for their customers. The regulator is already facing pressure from both Democrats and Republicans in Congress to repeal the guidance. So there are some entities at U.S. banks that are now pushing the SEC to tweak how the accounting works for digital assets. They want to hold Bitcoin, maybe even other cryptocurrencies for their clients. Imagine that. A year from now, Jamie Dimon allows you to start buying Bitcoin at your bank. You can tell them, hey, can you just transfer over like $1,000 from my savings account over to Bitcoin? And they can do that for you. Maybe that's part of the reason that Jamie Dimon is quite bearish on Bitcoin. It's just because, yes, they're an authorized participant, but they can't offer it directly to clients yet through retail, so maybe they're going to do that here soon, or maybe some custody arm. So this would be a huge moneymaker, obviously, for the banks, and they don't want to just be authorized participants for other entities that are making a lot more, like BlackRock and Fidelity. They want to have a piece of this pie themselves. They're getting FOMO, and we've seen so many crypto stocks recently go up exponentially, right? We just got news too that Coinbase got upgraded. Coinbase had good earnings last night. I actually covered it, but I saw that someone had upgraded their price target from 140 up to 240. You can see they smashed earnings per share estimates, almost 300% higher than expected. Revenue beat as well. Like, people are getting back into crypto, and there's just a lot of money to be made. Coinbase also became really lean last year, surprisingly, but they're up 11.5% today. So people are FOMOing, and they're trying to get a hold of Bitcoin-related stocks, Bitcoin miners, exchanges, MicroStrategy. Now the banks want into. Now we'll talk about some other entities that are feeling FOMO as well here in a second. Now, we've been talking about a lot of cryptocurrencies recently that have high potential, and one that I want to add to that list is Lingo. So Lingo is trying to become the most rewarding token in the world. Basically, they have a rewards program. So you buy the token, you earn points, and then you can redeem for rewards. But then also, they are taking some of their transaction fees and investing it into real estate, which generates value that then fuels more rewards. So they actually have a real utility, a real plan to provide value with real world assets. We know that that's going to be a huge industry, tokenizing real world assets, RWAs. The more the community grows, the more trading volume there is. The more trading volume, the more real world assets that they acquire. And then the more real world assets that they acquire, the more rewards that get distributed to the token holders. And it's just like this flywheel. Now, Lingo's co-founder, David, built and sold the world's #1 premium loyalty company to Acre Hotels for $150 million. So they built big companies before. So the team behind it's real strong. They also have people from Binance, Booking.com, Consensus. They've also been covered by other big crypto channels recently, like Miles the Shooter. And they did recently raise over $5.5 million in a private sale. Now, the private sale is officially closed, but I did secure 5 allocation spots. I am a partner with Lingo, which is why we can do things like this. You can check out the links in the description underneath the video. Just make sure you use my code if you want to get in on this. It is important to note that the minimum ticket value is quite high because it is a private round, but you wouldn't really have access to this otherwise. Of course, always do your own research. Investing is risky, so make sure that you're comfortable with your investment. Now, in some crazy news, we actually have Yahoo Finance talking about Bitcoin fund inflows outpacing gold inflows. So they show that Bitcoin flows were kind of stagnant for a couple of years during the bear market, and then they're starting to peak up. And he goes through and says that gold inflows have been going down. They've been seeing outflows. So this is quite interesting that on national TV, more of a traditional style of entertainment or of financial news, they're showing exactly what we're talking about that we should look at Twitter. Like, Bitcoin is the new gold is basically what they're saying here. A lot of people are wanting Bitcoin instead, and there's going to be that massive wealth transfer, right? People might want to invest in Bitcoin instead of real estate or instead of gold, right? There are a lot of people that are younger that would rather have Bitcoin. So that's just crazy. And we're starting to see it bleed into some altcoins. I covered yesterday a lot of altcoins were moving up significantly on the day. Operation Phoenix is one of them. I know I've talked about it a handful of times, but you can see here it's up 16% again in the last 24 hours. I talked about it when we were going down that if we bounce off this, it's going to be pretty bullish, and we bounced off of it, and then we trend back down, and then we're making a new all-time high. You can actually see it went up to like 11 cents. It's gone up from 100K market cap up to almost it hit over 10 million earlier. So it's done like 100x and still relatively small. I mean, this is 1,000th the size that SafeMoon actually got to. Operation Phoenix is like they're trying to become the new and improved SafeMoon that actually delivers. They're listing on Bitmart as well. So in case you want to learn some more, you can learn some more on Operation Phoenix. And I am a holder of this, just to be clear. If it goes up exponentially, I'm going to take profits. I was able to get in pretty early, but yeah, it's just doing incredibly well. And you can see holders are increasing, 1.33 thousand holders. So pretty bullish there. Now it's not just Operation Phoenix. It's not just crypto. Google search trends for call options hit a new 2-year high. Like, people are looking for ways to amplify returns, and in traditional markets, the best way, most likely, is to buy call options. In crypto, you can do stuff like this. You can leverage long, basically using TA to get in at certain times. Like, this is a pretty juicy setup right here. Maybe opening a long here very soon. But you can see call options spiking up. People want better returns. They can see the market getting hotter and hotter. But surprisingly, like in crypto, we still don't have much leverage compared to what we've seen in the past, where we had massive amounts of leverage. You can see people trying to get more aggressive, though, all the way around. They think that soft landing's coming. And you can see, like, this stock, super microcomputer, a lot of people have been talking about it recently because it's up 240% this year. It's up 10x in the last year. And over the last 5 years, you could have had a 40x gain since about 2020. You could have a huge return. So that is just nuts. People are looking at stocks like that. I'm invested in Texas Roadhouse. This is actually a pretty good portion of my portfolio. Recently, it went all the way down to $92. I was able to pick some up in the 90s, and yeah, it's up 62%. It's just Texas Roadhouse, just a food company, but they had strong earnings. They beat on earnings. I think they met revenue. They increased the dividend by 11%. And yeah, this is like, there are a lot of companies that are doing extremely well right now. Of course, some are having pullbacks. It's kind of like it's very split. Either your company is doing terribly or it's beating expectations, hitting new all-time highs. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Of course, we're bound to see some pullbacks, but the demand is crazy. And yeah, we're seeing like a little bit of a red day today, but when you zoom out, we've had 2 sideways days, and this comes after a lot of green, going from basically 40,000, 39,000, all the way up to 52,000. This is a big move, and we're not really seeing much of a pullback. If we go down to 50,000 or 48,000, I still think that's bullish, because when you look at the chart here, that would just be a nice little bounce, or a nice little, let's say, retest of prior resistance. If we just bounce right off that could be quite bullish. Even if we come down to the 48 level, just coming down here and then going back up, it would obviously be more bullish if we went to about 50,000, pulled back and then moved up. But I'm not sure if we'll see that, because there is so much buying pressure. Now, just a reminder, the markets are closed Monday, so we won't have that buying pressure from the ETFs then, but maybe it'll be pent up for Tuesday. Again, a lot of entities can't even buy these Bitcoin ETFs yet. They're not approved. They haven't gone through compliance. So it's hard to even know how high Bitcoin can go during the next bull run, but if you're positioned in it now, I think you're going to be sitting pretty. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all this underneath the video. Again, you can check out Margex or the algorithm too, the HGA algo, which is an indicator that can help you with dollar cost averaging. It can help you with trading. It is really good. Like, I've been testing it more and more, using it, and it is spot on, like 90% of the time. So definitely check that out underneath the video. I appreciate it. I will see you in the next one. Bye.